Happy Sunday, guys. I'm so happy to be back. It is Sister Monica, and today we are looking at 1 Samuel chapter 14, verses 1 through 13, and it's called Jonathan Attacks the Philistine Outpost. To me, this is purely operating outside of fear and operating inside of faith. This is a great lesson to me to show how you can say one thing but do another. So if I say that I have this courage, if I say that I have this faith, how am I actually operating inside of it? Am I just saying it just to say it because it sounds good, or am I saying it because I'm going to actually move on it to receive the victory in which was promised to me and what I'm looking for? Okay, so let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 14, verses 1 through 13. And I just want to let you know right now, if I butcher some of these names, I apologize. Okay? So, we should know who Jonathan is. Jonathan is the eldest son of King Saul. He was also a dear friend to King David. So much so that it said that he loved King David with his own soul. He had a profound love for King David. You can find that in 1 Samuel 18 and 3. Okay. Jonathan was also skilled in archery and in sling, and he was a man of great strength and swiftness. So he had quickness to him. So when he moved with strength and he moved quickly. He did not hesitate. He did what needed to be done. So there's no doubt and no question of why he would be in the army, why he would serve, why he would be a warrior, because he was very skilled in all the things needed to proceed into war and to be victorious. Okay. So, starting off as scripture 1 through 3. Now it came to pass upon a day that Jonathan, the son of Saul, said unto the young man that bare his armor, Come and let us go over to the Philistine garrison that is on the other side. But he told not his father. And Saul tarried in the uttermost part of Gibeah, under the pomegranate tree, which was in Morong. And the people that were with him were about 600. And Ahiah, the son of Ichabod's brother, the son of the priest in Shiloh, were in the ephod. And the people knew not that Jonathan was gone. So first we need to see that Jonathan was like, we got to go. When we talk about the Philistine garrison, a garrison means to occupy or to provide a post or a fort. So when you hear garrison, just think about a fort. So they're going to, or to a post. I'm sorry, got these little fluffy things flying in the air. Think about a post. And so this was the Philistine post that had troops. It did not state how many troops were at this post. I can guarantee it was more than just the two that were about to go over there. Okay. So we know that he had all of these skills, but then he also had an idea that it's just going to be me and my armor bearer. And what the armor bearer means is just that he was there to hold the actual armor of the warrior in which he was protecting. He was kind of like a bodyguard, if you will, or we see armor bearers now with our pastoral staff that gives the pastor everything that he needs, whether it be a handkerchief, whether it be assistance of some sort with water, or to hold if they have a tablet that they use during preaching services, or if they have their Bible with them, if they need a pen, whatever it is, I'm here to aid you so you can be victorious or successful in the task that's ahead of you. So that's what his armor bearer was. So it was him and his armor bearer. He did not tell his father, who was chilling underneath this pomegranate tree with the 600 troops that he had, and who he had with Ahiah, who is the great grandson of the priest Eli, who served in Shiloh. It was very important to have an actual ordained priest, because and you cannot make a sacrifice that is not yours to give. You cannot commission something when you were not commissioned as the person to say so. Okay, so that is like someone trying to do king business and you ain't the king. You're trying to do priest business and you ain't the priest. Pretty much stay in your lane. Okay, so it's very important to have this particular person here with him. Going on to verse 4 and 5. And between the passages by which Jonathan sought to go over unto the Philistines' garrison, there was a sharp rock on one side and a sharp rock on the other side. And the name of one rock was Boaz, and the other name was Sinai. The forefront of one was situated northward, and the other southward against Gibeah. So you have these two rocks that they're situated in, and the path that this wonderful man, Jonathan, decided to take was not an easy path in more than one way. It's not an easy path to only take you and one other person to a whole military post to confront them. And it's not an easy path as far as actually obtaining or traveling. Okay, they were in between ravines. You had sharp rocks, you had cliffs, and that is to take note in our own victory. We always look for the path of least resistance. We always think that if God loves me, He will make it easy for me to obtain my goal. And when we don't see the easy path, we stop. We reevaluate ourselves and we go, well, if it's hard, God didn't mean for me to do that. And that's not particularly true. That's why I said this lesson is about operating outside of fear and inside of faith. Jonathan was operating inside of faith, and he also knew his skill set. He knew what he was strong at. He knew what he could obtain, and he was not going to allow anyone, regardless of the numbers, to tell him that he was not. So therefore, if I have to climb down this cliff, if I have to go to this ravine, if I have to go in between these two rocks, one that means shining and the other one that means thorn or pointed, I'm going through these thorns. I'm going through the points in life because that's what life gives you. Life gives you thorns. If you think life gives you rainbows, sunshines, and butterflies all day, you're going to continuously be at the point you are, and you're never going to succeed. You're never going to excel, and you're always going to be looking for an easy spot in which God can give you, and you're never going to go through those hard points. I believe Jesus did not go through the path of least resistance, or else we would not have the salvation that we have today. He went through barricade after barricade. He went through thorn after thorn. He had people betraying him, those he loved. His own people, the Jewish people, did not believe in him. Your own people. But it didn't stop him because he knew of his strengths. He knew of his destination. He knew of his path. He knew his journey, and he was not going to allow anyone to tell him otherwise. That is operating in your faith and outside of fear. And we have to take off the man and put on the spirit. And that's what Jonathan was doing with his armor bearer. Okay? Going 6 and 7. And Jonathan said to the young man that bare his armor, come, and let us go over into the garrison of these uncircumcised. It may be that the Lord will work for us. For there is no restraint to the Lord to save by many or by few. And his armor bearer said unto him, do all that is in thy heart. Turn thee. Behold, I am with thee according to thy heart. So Jonathan wasn't going over there to gain intel, nor was he over there to go ahead and have a polite conversation. Hey guys, it'd be really nice if we could just stop this war and, call it a draw. I don't want to fight no more. I'm tired. He wasn't going over there for that. He had a mission. Okay. So he made it very clear to his armor bearer what my intent is. Okay. So look, we about to take a hard path. I don't need nobody with me who's about to be whining. Okay. We about to go ahead and climb down this rock real quick. Remember, they didn't have the type of ropes and equipment that we have now to rappel down a cliff. All right. They couldn't call the rescue team if they got caught on this cliff. like we do, and they have a whole rescue team when we dial 911. That wasn't happening. All right. So we about to get in here and we about to get it. That's pretty much what he said. I need you to get your mind right. Remember, when you're going into battle, you need to always have, if you're going to have someone there with you, you need to have someone who's like-minded. When we're going into the battle, I don't need nobody who's wishy-washy. I need somebody, as I tell Jeffrey, that's down for me like 4 flats on a Cadillac. I need you down for me. And that's what he was telling his armor bearer. We're about to go in here, the two of us. And we only got the armor that we have. We know that it's going to be, it's a whole troop. It's a whole troop. It's going to be more than 2 people. They're going to outnumber us, not only in manpower, but in weaponry. Okay? And so we're about to go into this. And I already have my faith. I have my mind. I have a straight path. Okay? And Jonathan was saying to him that, number one, when he stated about the Lord's will, this is going to work as the Lord's will. I don't know what the Lord's will is, but I have faith that the Lord did not carry me over here just to die a horrible death. That is what I do know. And so, one, I know that the Lord's will is going to be worked regardless. So I'm not going to go against the Lord's will. And that's what you need to know, number one, Mr. Armor Bearer. Number two, God, as he says in the second part of verse 6, for there is no restraint to the Lord to save by many or by few. So God will save regardless of the fact of how many people are there before us or against us. And we should know that from the great exodus of Egypt with the children of Israel. Okay, it didn't matter how many times or how large the numbers were with the Pharaoh and his army. It could not compete because the Lord's will was being done and it was being accomplished, whether he liked it or not. So remove your fear. Take out that fear, Mr. Armor Bearer. We're going to take it out and we're going to operate in this faith. And what did the armor bearer do? He said, all right, I'm down. That's why I always tell you, be careful who you keep around you. When you're doing the Lord's work, not your own work, not what's in Monica, not what's in self. When we're doing the Lord's work, we need to be careful who we associate ourselves with, who we allow in our camp, who we allow in our inner circle, because they will place doubt within your faith that will have you stop and say, you know what? It is only 2 of us. I don't know how this is going to work. Maybe I should go back to my dad and stand underneath the pomegranate tree with the other 600 people and the priest. That is where someone will take you to if you have the wrong ones around you. So your circle doesn't always need to be large, okay? Your circle needs to be of trusted people who believe in God and believe in the operation, needs to believe in the mission that God has called you for. That is who you need around you. So you can have someone like this armor bearer, who, as I said, was down for him like 4 flats on a Cadillac. Let's go ahead and do this. The 2 of us. I need you to get that mindset. The 2 of us. Whatever we can carry for our armor. That's it. So verses 8 through 10. Then Jonathan said, behold, we will pass over unto these men, and we will discover ourselves unto them. If they say unto us, tarry until we come to you, then we will stand still in our place and will not go up unto them. But if they say thus, come up unto us, then we will go up. For the Lord hath delivered them into our hand, and this shall be a sign unto us. So, after the armor bearer confirmed his stance, after he confirmed that he is completely 100% on board, there's nothing else you have to say, let's go. Jonathan laid out their plan. And so what you have to realize is when you're going even on a spiritual warfare and you have on your full armor of God, you still must have a plan of attack. You do not just run in blindly, no matter who is with you, no matter if you're by yourself, you still must have a plan. You must have a strategic plan, regardless of what it is and what the situation is. Okay? So Jonathan had to lay out the plan. He said, first, once we discover ourselves, once they see us, because this fort was sitting up on a hill. Okay? So it wasn't just eye level, if you will. It was sitting up on a hill. So that means that once they climb down this cliff through this ravine, that the troop is going to see us. And once they see us, we're going to give them pretty much, we are going to give them. So he's making a stance. We are going to give them two options. If they tell us, hey, wait until we come to you, we're going to stand here. It was never an option for them to turn around and run. Jonathan wasn't going for that. We didn't came too far. You have to remember, once you have gone through the valleys, once you have passed those thorns that have pricked you, once you have climbed down that cliff, once you done went through that ravine, once you done passed these sharp objects, I am not going to turn and run because I have to tarry and wait. I'm not going to turn and run because I see that I am outnumbered by this troop. I've come too far within this race to turn. So I'm not going to turn. Okay? So if they tell us to tarry until they come down to us, if they tell us to wait, then that's what we're going to do. But if they tell us to come on up, we're not only going to come up, we're going to be ready. Okay? I always tell kids, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. That was coined, that phrase was coined by a certain rapper, but it's true. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. So what he's saying is, regardless of the situation, we ready. Okay? So if they tell us to wait, we're going to wait. If they tell us to come up, then we're going to come up, and we will know as soon as they tell us to come up that this is the Lord delivering the Philistines into our hands. God is not going to send me into a dead situation or into a threatening situation so I can perish. I know he's not. I just know he's not. So you have to be with me. Do you have that same faith? And that's what he was saying. Because if we go up there, we got to be ready. And we have to have that faith that we are going to survive and come out victors. Okay? So that was his plan. You ready? We got it. Let's go. Going on to verses 11 through 13. And both of them discovered themselves into the garrison of the Philistine. And the Philistines said, behold, the Hebrews come forth out of the hole where they had hid themselves. I want to stop right there. You got your faith. You got your whole armor of God on. You're passing every test. You get to the final test, and the person standing before you, that situation taunts you. You don't lose your cool. You know, me within myself, I would have said something. I come out the hole that I hid myself. I hide myself. I ain't scared of nothing. I ain't never scared. That's Monica. Okay? So I would have started talking mess. I would have started being petty. I would have started talking about their mamas. Homie, you don't know me like that. I would have started talking about their lineage, because back then, talking about your lineage was real strong. You the son of who? Who's the son of who? You know what I'm saying? I would have started all that. And that's not where God is trying to take you, okay? So we need to come back into the spiritual. And we need to realize that within our war, within our battle, because remember, this battle is going to make us better. That's the whole point. Like I said, operating within faith, outside of fear. Okay? So you're going to have a situation that's going to tempt you to come out of the spiritual. That's the whole point of the enemy. Remember, the Philistines were the enemy. You're my enemy. I'm supposed to knock you off kilter. I'm supposed to put something that's going to throw you off and take you outside of the plan that you just made with your armor bearer. It's my job. I'm crazy enough not to do my job. Okay? So we have to realize when something, and it can be just that little. It doesn't have to be something big to knock you off. Let's think of the little things that have knocked us off of our path of righteousness. It's little things. It can be little things that's going to a gathering where you said, I'm not going to do something, and then you do it. And it's just this one time, but it has knocked you off your path of righteousness. It can be a phone call. It can be a text message. It can be an innocent conversation that started off innocent and ended up into something else. So it can be little, okay? So that's what the Philistines did. They said, oh, look it. Y'all done came out the hole you done hid yourself in. But that did not knock off Jonathan, because like I said, he knew his purpose. And he knew exactly what God can do and will do. So what you're saying is obsolete. Okay? I'm going to tell you right now, Sister Monica needs to practice that lesson right there in verse 11. So what Sister Monica going to do, take her pen, and I'm going to circle that, because I need to practice how to not let the little things throw me off from the path that God has me on, and that's my path to victory. Regardless of where it's going to lead to, I got to stay on it no matter what the enemy throws at me. Okay? So going on to verse 12. And the man of the garrison answered Jonathan and said, and his armor bearer, and said, come up to us, and we will show you a thing. I'm gonna underline that, because see, that was some more mess talk. And I wasn't even there, and that's irritating my soul. Okay, so that should let you know where I'm at in my journey to salvation. And Jonathan said unto his armor bearer, come up after me, for the Lord hath delivered them unto the hand of Israel. Oh my goodness. He was like, yes, yes, and yes. Talk your mess. Talk your talk. Because see, I got somebody bigger and better on my side. Just the two of us. Okay? That's what they did to Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. Oh, throw me in the fire, because guess what? This fourth person, Jesus is bigger than this fire. So go ahead and do what you got to do, but I'm going to stand on my own too. So that's what he said. That was a glorious moment in Jonathan's head, and these Philistines had no idea what they were doing, what they were bringing upon themselves. They had no idea. And that's what the enemy does, because the enemy is so secure in their mission. Okay? That's what we have to realize. The enemy is every day on his job. He is so secure in what he does. He's operating in his mission. It's us who have the fear that we're operating in, and we're not sure, although we have testimony about how good God is. We have story after story, not just in biblical time, but in your time right now, of how strong and powerful and how mighty God is, and we're still operating in that fear. That is what advances the enemy, because he knows that you have fear. We got to be on our job like Jonathan. I'm not fearful of your numbers, and your little comments don't throw me off. Yes, it's just me and my armor bearer. But see, you don't understand what else is behind me. The big man. You don't even see him. All you see is just this human form of two people. You don't even see that I just don't have on this physical armor, but I got on the whole armor of God. And your little man standing within this fort are nothing compared to what God can do for me. And so in verse 13, it says, and Jonathan climbed up upon his hands and upon his feet, and his armor bearer after him. And they flew before Jonathan, and his armor bearer flew after him. What is so crazy is that they was talking all this mess, and you had to have two people climb, which means that when you climb with your hands and your feet, you do not have the access to your weapons. I cannot defend myself. I'm solely at the mercy of the person standing before me. And you genius babies didn't even take your opportunity to shoot down the two little people that were climbing. So now that's how Jonathan knew. Even when I am unprotected physically, spiritually, I am 100% covered, even when I'm out in the open, in the presence before my enemies. Do you see that? So I'm going to climb up here with no worries. I'm going to climb without even worrying about you guys looking down on me. You know how secure you got to be within your faith to do that? I'm going to keep on climbing. Yo, it don't matter, because they not about to do nothing. That's pretty much what he was saying when he was climbing up, although he wasn't physically or verbally saying it. He was saying it with his actions. You ain't going to do nothing. You're going to wait till I get up there to you, because you're going to show me a thing, right? But in reality, I'm going to show you a thing. And not only did I slay, but my armor bearer slayed as well, and we were victorious. This is how you operate outside of fear and inside of your faith. I want to learn, me, Monica, I want to learn how to operate within the faith. When you operate within the faith, that is how you move mountains. That is how you do things that are so radical to others, because they're looking at it in the human form. That's why he didn't tell his father. His father would have stopped him. You are crazy. We only have 600 people. We are here to gather ourselves, gather our thoughts, come up with a plan. But Jonathan knew who God was and what God had called him for. And at this moment, I need you to move. And it's nothing against your parents, it's nothing against your loved ones. But when God tells you to move, you do not wait for their yes. God has already given you the yes. Let's operate inside of God's will. That's the yes. And let's remove ourselves out of our human, which is our fear. I hope that you guys receive something from this. I definitely did. I need to learn how to not let the little things throw me off uh, and come out of Monica. And I need to know that if God tells me to move, then that means that He's going to make me victorious no matter what cliff is in front of me, no matter how many rocks are in front of me, no matter how sharp it is. I know that God has not brought me this far just to fail. I can't wait to review with you guys. And happy Sunday, everyone.